I told my son to find me the nicest place to live in Cleveland. He said, Dad, there's only one place, and that's Garden Plaza. And I moved into the patio home. Everybody knows your name from day one, and there's something to do all day long if you want to participate in it. You cannot possibly be bored at Garden Plaza. It is just great, and their food is outstanding. It's out of this world. And I'm so happy I'm here. Garden Plaza is it for me.
Hello, everyone. Steve Hartline with you, and welcome to the second installment of our Life Care Centers of America Leadership Series. We are here at our studios, and today I'm joined by the leaders of our local school systems. Dr. Linda Cash is the director of Bradley County Schools. Dr. Russell Dyer, the director of Cleveland City Schools. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
All is well.
Yeah, doing fine. It's a great day to be alive.
It sure is, and what a week this is. We are beginning a 2021-2022 school campaign, and Dr. Cash, and it's the same question really for both of you. I want to begin with you because thinking about what we came out of this past school year, and now looking ahead to the new school year as we air this the first week as we get ready for school on Friday. Dr. Cash, what do you think about it?
Well, I think there's a lot of excitement around this year because we feel like we're starting fresh and new, and I think teachers are excited, administrators are excited. Really, it is about launching a new vision, and that vision is we are no longer in COVID, so how do we accelerate everything, accelerate our kids, put excitement in the classrooms, and we were just talking about protocols to open school, and the constant thing is how normal can we be? So we're looking for a new normal that doesn't involve shutdowns and tracing and all of those things. So we're really excited. Big focus on having children wanting to be at school again, and parents being assured that we're still taking care of their children.
Dr. Dyer.
I would agree. As of the taping today, all of our administrators are back today, so they're in the schools now planning for what's going to be happening during in-service week and beyond when our students return. And really, we're looking for just an exciting year. We had a meeting this morning really about the same sort of topics and thinking about what we can do to, again, make Cleveland City Schools have as normal of a year as we can for our students, for our staff, for our families, and our community. And we're open for business, and we can't wait to open those doors and have those students jump off the buses and their cars and get into the buildings again.
When major things happen in our world, really, and especially in our nation, and trauma, I would call this a trauma, the pandemic that we've been through, and we'll talk about that in a second, but what have we learned? There's certainly things that stick out that going forward may help us in the future. Anything stick out to you from the previous year?
I think one thing for me is resiliency. The fact that one of the things that we're going to take away from this is that we can accomplish whatever we put our minds to. And we saw that by both districts being able to be open last year and really fight through the adversity dealing with COVID, but staying positive through that approach and being able to work through that. And that's something we can all take into our work lives, our personal lives, and move forward with. Whether you're a teacher, whether you're a principal, whether you're a student going through school, you think about how that applies in so many ways. And as a school district leader, that's something I was so proud of, the fact that we were able to work with the CDC recommendations, work with Tennessee Department of Health, work with all these different folks that had different opinions, but in the same time, we had to take into account what an education environment must look like through this. We adapted, we changed our protocols, think back to March when all this hit and all the different pieces that had to go into place, and then moving into last year when we opened in person, when a lot of school districts did not, and we were able to maintain our year. Sure, we had a few close down the buildings as we go, but education continued. The continuum never stopped. And it looked different, and it looked different this year than last year, but just that sense of resiliency was something I was very proud of and something we can all, I think, take away.
What do you take from it, Dr. Cash? Anything?
I think that when we always evaluate where we were and where we're going and what worked and what didn't work. One of the pieces that stood out for us is, again, the resilience and the flexibility. It's okay to be flexible, and your day may look different, but we're still going to meet the needs of our children. But the biggest pieces that came away from us, our parents said the communication was so strong that those are pieces they would like to keep. The videos coming out from all of our schools telling them what was going on and what was happening and highlighting children and highlighting, they would like to see those stay, which was something we learned. We broadened that communication, as you well know. People want to know, and that's a piece we wanted to keep. But we also found that some of the safety protocols with cleaning was something that we felt like we needed to keep, because even though we put them in place for COVID, we did not have a lot of the other typical issues that we have with flu and strep. So something, whether it was just washing the hands more frequently, so some of those protocols we'll keep, mainly the hand sanitizing and the sanitation of the building. Those are not the deep, heavy stuff, but just, spraying and we felt like that was a very positive thing that resulted in us raising that awareness. But again, the same as Russell said, is that we still teach children. If we can do it online, we can do it, but we love that personal one-on-one, those kids being in the building, serving our families and working with our families. We think those relationships are what made the difference, and we want to maintain even higher relationships.
We've talked about the past, so let's talk about the future, and let's talk about this coming year. I'll begin with you, Dr. Cash, and that is, just give us 100,000-foot kind of an overall, just maybe a handful of goals that you think about for this coming year.
So I would tell you one of our biggest goals is, again, to remain in relationship with our students and our families. One of the pieces that especially our counselors felt, was that they built stronger relationships with families because they were checking in constantly and consistently. So one of our goals is to maintain and even build more relationships so that we know where we're going. We also looked at obviously academics, push those academics, raise your academics so they have more flexibility and more opportunities for success in life. But we are very, very excited about the college and career piece, preparing those students for the jobs after high school, but starting it in elementary. So one of our goals is to embed that from elementary through high school, and then K to J, as my educators, supervisors coach me, it's K to J. And I said, okay, K to J, kindergarten to job. So, but, and of course we've got, as I know Dr. Dyer is too, we are looking forward to strong extracurricular activities for our students, allowing them to participate more with less restrictions, and just raising the bar and saying.
Such a big part of it, isn't it?
It is a big part. It's spirit, it's culture. Because I believe, as I know Dr. Dyer does, that if students are engaged, they become more embedded into the school and they start to feel better about themselves. They have friends, people they identify with. So our board has talked about that consistently, how important those extracurricular activities are. And those facilities are important, so we're working on those facilities.
We'll get to that in just a moment. I like that K to J. That's good. Kindergarten to job.
That's right.
Wow. Dr. Dyer, same question. Looking ahead to this year.
Well, I think a lot of those things translate to both districts and districts across our state. We are planning right now, and we have been planning all summer, getting ready for the fall and getting ready for school to come back. And, we're thinking about the world of academics. What do we need to do in math and language arts and science and all of our different courses to make sure that we're prepared, that we're teaching the standards, and we're making sure that students are ready for whatever comes next. So that's, of course, a big part of what we're doing. STEM education is important for all districts right now, and we're really hitting that hard and embedding that into our subject matter as well, and really making sure that we're doing all we can to push students forward. I would say engaged workforce. That's a big goal for us this year, is making sure that we're engaging with our staff even more. And that's something that I think we've learned a lot through COVID year about the importance of engaging with our own staff on a regular basis, getting feedback and forming those feedback circles. And that's something, again, that's going to be a big push for us. Student life, you're talking about extracurricular activities, whether it's after school marching band or football or wrestling or whatever the case may be, that's a huge part of what our students are for. And I 100% agree. If we can get those students engaged in something, whether it be a club, whether it be a sport, whether it be something in the performing arts arena, those students are going to be more engaged in the classroom environment. And our schools offer so many activities. It's almost impossible to say there's nothing here for me. So it's about engaging our students, making sure they're part of that, making sure they're finding a home where they can find like-minded individuals to really sink their teeth into it and become engaged as far as that goes. So we're also going to be really re-engaging our strategic plan. That's something that COVID did throw a little bit of a wrench into. I'm going to be honest with you. Our board approved a plan 2 years ago, and now we're re-engaging in that. We got a lot of things accomplished last year, but we didn't do everything we wanted to do. So now we're going to be going back and looking at that and thinking about where do we need to take it this year. And the final part, I guess I would say, would be our portrait of graduate. What is our promise to the community that when a student graduates from Cleveland High School, these are the 5 C's. These are the 5 things that we say they're going to have. How do we engage that? How do we do that? And how do we make sure that's embedded into what we're doing day to day? So those are some topics we'll be looking into.
I want to talk more about the strategic plan in just a moment as we do talk about some big projects. Let me pause here and remind, we've got a lot of people watching, and so you see what we're doing here. It's our second edition, the second installment of our Life Care Leadership Series with our friends at Life Care Centers of America and our radio stations, and of course, Mix TV. But if you're listening on the radio, you're listening to Talk 101.3 The Buzz. And I want to go back to Dr. Dyer. And as we tape this today, and there is a little bit of a nagging problem that's going on in this nation, especially in the Southeast and especially in Tennessee, and that is low vaccination rates. Mm-hmm. Are you concerned at all? I mean, as we tape this, and we're very clear about this, we are taping this quite a bit, a couple of weeks ahead of time. But Bradley County's numbers have shot up. We see the unvaccinated really becoming a problem. How do you respond to that? How do you look at it?
It's a difficult issue because everyone has a personal preference on this. And, in the school business, I'm not in the medical profession. I'm not here to tell you what you should do and how you should run your family or what you need to do in your personal healthcare decisions that you make. For me personally, I chose to get a vaccination. I feel fine with that, but I'm not going to tell anyone else to do what I did just because I chose to do that. The way we're looking at it going into our school year is, this year is different. Our board approved a plan last May that said mask mandate is no longer part of what we're doing in Cleveland City Schools. So it's a personal preference on what you want to do coming to this year.
Sure. You
don't have to wear a mask, but you're absolutely welcome to wear one if that's what you want it to do. And I think the same thing is going to apply for us with vaccines. We're not going to require, we're not going to look at paperwork as far as that goes. But if a parent chooses to do that for a child, that's great. And we'll work with Tennessee Department of Health and the local health department to really promote that if that's what they want to do, but it's a choice. And that's something that I want parents to hear from us. It's a choice. We understand that. We are concerned. We're going to continue to look at those COVID rates. We want the rates to be down just like everyone else in the community does. And there's a lot of different factors that go into that. And quite frankly, that's out of my field of profession. So I don't know what's causing all those issues. But that's something we'll keep an eye on.
I guess my question was about your concern and seeing the numbers all of a sudden going up as they are.
We are. I mean, I do have a personal concern. Just personally speaking, as a member of the community.
Sure.
Yeah, I would love to see our vaccination numbers be higher. I would love to see the rate of transmission to COVID go down. And maybe vaccine is the way to get there. And that's, again, a personal preference for folks to have to choose to do. But that is something that I hope they consider and look at the science and go from there. But again, personal decision on what they choose to do with their family.
Dr. Cash, same question.
Well, I think when you talk about concern, we do have concerns about keeping all of our students very safe. So that's why we're keeping some of those protocols that we started with, hand sanitation, building sanitation, and trying to do the best that we can. But with vaccinations, I agree with Dr. Dyer, and so does our team and our board. It is, for students, it's a parental decision. It's not our decision. We are... I did get vaccinated, but that was a personal decision. It should be a personal decision with everyone else. But I think you keep some of those cleaning protocols in place to keep some of that transmission down. People are out. I mean, we both just came back from a legislative session in Gatlinburg, and I've never seen so many people in one place in a long time.
It's been a while.
So people are out, which
Yeah.
means you're in close proximity,
Right.
which is where transmission happens. So, but our real focus is opening school, getting kids back in the building, and it's a parental decision whether to vaccinate or not vaccinate. We've always had the option of mask or no mask. That's still a student and a parental option that they have, as well as our teachers as well.
From out of COVID came a lot of federal money, and federal money. I had the two mayors here. I would like to say it was a pleasant experience. It was not. Kidding. But anyway, I did have them in our first installment of this. They talked about all of this money that, quite frankly, it has a lot of strings attached to it, a lot of ways to do it. How are your systems, Dr. Cash, up again with you? How are you confronting all this money that's rolling in?
Well, to start with, the State Department or the federal government requires 20% of it to be immediately spent on COVID properties, which is recovering academics. So there's a lot of that's spent on additional personnel that's in there for over the next 2 years to be sure we're filling the academic gaps. We also look at it as a gift, and that gift is, we have purchased programs that we normally would not happen. We have had the ability to actually put money toward the Pi Center, which was just a fabulous plus. Therefore, things are moving faster. So with us, it was planning, being open about what our needs were, that needs assessment, what do we need to do. People are probably the largest input that we think will see a benefit. A lot of tutoring, tremendous amount of tutoring. So with the guidelines that were in there, you really didn't have a lot of freedom with a lot of the money. There were some guidelines that had to be hit, and we're fine with that because it is about recovery. And we're thankful for the funds and blessed to be able to use it.
What about you?
Yeah. One thing I would say is when we compare the Tennessee plan to other states' plans, we have a lot more flexibility than what I'm seeing
Right.
from other state leaders. And that's one thing I would say for our Tennessee General Assembly members, our governor, our commissioner. We may not always agree with everything that's passed and brought down, but as far as the federal money coming down, whether it's the American Rescue Plan or ESSER dollars, we've had a lot of flexibility that other states haven't. For example, a lot of states are requiring the summer learning plans, the summer learning camps like we had and,
Right.
and every system across the state had, but they had to pay for that from local dollars. Ours were paid from state dollars, which is fantastic because that's freed us up now to be able to use our local dollars. And like Dr. Cash, we're using it for a variety of means. 20% is going toward learning loss. We're going to have after-school tutoring next year of no charge for parents and be able to offer a lot of programming that way, hiring things like some additional social workers and nurses and folks to come in and help us really just do the things that we really need to do anyway. If you've gone around any of our schools, you see schools constructions going on at just about every school this year, either with canopies or other things that are going on inside the school. So a lot of things underway this year that is being funded through those federal dollars to really help us have a great environment for our students and for our staff, which benefits the whole community.
Yes, it
and
does.
we're all trying to use these dollars very sensibly and making sure that we're doing things that are going to have an impact in the classroom itself. And that's what the major focus for my district is, and for I'm sure Dr.
Right.
Cash as well. What can we do to impact that student in that classroom and make things happen for them using these one-time federal dollars? And we understand this is a once-in-a-lifetime shot of money coming down. We're not going to see this year after year after year, more than likely. So how can we use this money to have the greatest impact? And then how can we sustain that work over the coming years? And that's something I know we'll be working with General Assembly members on as well.
Yeah. And Steve, speaking of our legislatures, I will say throughout the summer funding that they have really stepped up to help school systems so that we could still use our money for the local use. So that funding for summer school was extremely important, and their commitment to do it for 2 years fully funded, and then after that for the elementary is admirable. And I do want to thank them because that's money that goes back into our students and the academic learning and back to our teachers. So that is very appreciative from both of us.
Yeah, I agree. And what you've seen in other states is federal money that came down, stayed at the state level, and never trickled down to the local.
Wow.
So we're very fortunate that we have leadership in Tennessee that understands that.
Good to
Wow.
live in Tennessee.
Yeah.
Amen to that. All right, this is really going to be my final question, and then I'll have both of you add anything that you'd like to add before I go, because I probably forgot something, and I think you're all used to that. Anyway, let's talk about big projects. Let's talk about the home runs. Let's talk about the big swings. I'm not going to speak for you, Dr. Cash, but I would imagine the Pie Center would be toward
That's
the
a
top,
big swing.
toward the top of the list, and I'm going to go, and I'd like to go to that strategic plan in a second. But let's begin with you, Doctor.
Well, and we both well, I know we both have strategic plans, and ours is really focused on that college and career ready. So the Pie Center, which is in full swing, and if you go by there, it's really exciting.
it is.
So those programs will be in there. We had internships already in place that will be moving. So you're seeing a lot of action over there. And so we will have students in that building, especially in Goal Academy, in the fall.
Wow.
If the rain would stop, we might get there a little faster. The convention center is going up with the conclave, so that will be ready, probably by second semester for the community and the school use. So even though it's been a long time coming, we are very excited about the opportunities for our students to have that learning opportunity and the impact it has on the economics, not only just today, but in the future, because we will be providing a workforce that is trained by our own individuals in the buildings and trades, and it's just a really exciting opportunity. And I think that's a big swing for us, but I would tell you another big swing for us is to focus on building those leaders and leadership, because those students coming out there will have leadership skills that they need to go into the job force. So we're excited about the partnerships, about the constant moving and shaking of changing education. And it is a change. It's a shift. Schedules will change. Job embedded will look differently. And I think that's headed for actually the whole state of Tennessee and probably the country is saying we missed the niche of how important trades are to us and the good living that it provides for families. So that's a big swing, a really big one.
How encouraged are you by, especially Governor Bill Lee's comments about specifically the Pie Center? That's basically going to be a pilot program that they're looking at replicating throughout the state.
Yeah, well, that's kind of exciting. We think it will spread throughout the state. We've learned a lot of lessons that we'll love to pass on to people. A lot of, where we started in the beginning has transformed, and so it's bigger and better than our first round of imaginations, and that's from the input from industry and business changed that profile. Hey, y'all need this, you need this, and we're like, okay, help us get there. But that college and career with, with our local community colleges, with TCAT, with the schools, it's all a win. It's a win for everybody.
Big swings, Dr. Cash. What's coming up?
Well, I'm Dr. Dyer, but
We're going to edit that right out. Dr. Dyer, yes. Go right ahead. I'm sorry.
that's okay.
Leave it in.
Leave it in. Need a blooper reel. So with us, right now we're working really hard to implement our strategic plan, which encompasses a lot of different areas. We have academics, we have student life, we have the employee engagement piece of that, we have our portrait of a graduate, and all those kind of pieces fit together because we're all trying to do the same thing. We want whatever our student product is at the end to benefit our community, to benefit our local universities, and to benefit our local employers. So whatever we can do to build that whole student and get them ready to leave our high school and engage in that local community, whichever way they choose to do that, is important. I've used this analogy before, and I'm sure I'm not the one who came up with it, but our job, I think, is to set the menu on the table. We put everything out there. Here's all the things that you can do in your life. Do you want to be a doctor? Do you want to work in a local manufacturer? Whatever it is you want to do, here's the plan. Here's the roadmap to get there. Let's make choices that make sense, and let's do everything we can to provide that level of education you need to pass that certification test, to run that machinery, or to be prepared to go to a 4-year college or beyond if you want to be a doctor, a teacher, a lawyer, or anything else you want to do. So we're working really diligently in that. You're aware from middle school up, we have a fantastic career and technical program in Cleveland City Schools, and it's been something that really has propelled a lot of students in a lot of different directions and is doing a lot of great things for our students and our local employers and other things. But we're also understanding that not every student's going to go that direction, so we need to make sure we prepare them for those other environments as well. So I think both of our systems are doing some really neat things. And whatever we can do to work with our local employers or local universities or whatever else, that's what our goal is. Try to provide that student the most well-rounded education they can receive so that they're ready for whatever they choose to do after high school and beyond.
Is there more collaboration between either the two of you or the two systems, and maybe the public realizes? I mean, you're down there on South Lee Highway. You're right around the corner on Mouse Creek.
Right. We're neighbors.
I would expect more gifts than we're getting. But anyway,
Well, same here, but
two-way street. Is there more collaboration? What we know?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of collaboration and conversation because, we're texting, asking questions. Hey, what are you doing about this? And then when we are trying, when there's something big that affects both, is to do a collaboration of putting information out there from both schools. I think you saw that through COVID.
Yes.
Yes. And so even though we operate as two different school systems, we are in the same community. So we try. There's a little competition too. You know.
Oh, I bet.
And competition's healthy as long as it doesn't go the wrong way.
Right, exactly.
But I think we deal with the same issues and concerns. But so, like, we'll call and say, hey, what are you doing about this? How's this? And it's just an open conversation. And but we do. It's two different school systems, and it's a healthy competition. And just keep pushing and moving. And
Well, because there's numerous families that have children at both.
And employees
Yeah.
employees cross lines. Our
Right.
one parent will be in our system, the other will be.
Right.
So we try.
Sure.
But we're not going to be exactly alike because it is two systems with two different
Yeah, sure.
focuses.
Yeah, and I think, like Dr. Cash said, that rivalry, that healthy rivalry between the two districts makes both of our districts stronger. And I think that makes our community stronger.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, we collaborate on a lot of things, and we do text back and forth or call back and forth, what are you doing? How are you doing this? And so forth. And we work with our core region. And we
Yes.
work with Meigs County and Sequatchie County and all these others really well because we want to be presenting a solid front as much as we can, even though each district may take a certain item and move it a little bit differently. We're usually pretty much on the same page of music as far as that's concerned, except for the world of athletics. That's a whole different topic. But
I was going to say there's a couple of dates coming up.
I know.
Yeah.
But honestly, we don't have this relationship that sometimes people want to build up where it's just two enemies on the battlefield going at it all the time. It's just not that way, folks. It's just not that way. Dr. Cash and I have known each other for quite a long time from doing our doctoral
Even
studies
before
together.
here, right?
Before here.
Yeah.
So that's great, and it helps build that relationship. We're not always going to see eye to eye and do things exactly the same way, but both of our districts want the best for the community and for all students involved.
Yeah.
So I think that's important for everybody to hear.
I also think it's important for community because if something happens in either one of our districts or even in the Southeast with any of our counties, we all care very deeply.
Yes.
And I think that's a win because we want all of them to be successful.
Right.
Yes.
And I think we glean a lot from other districts. I saw Pete Swafford and I said, well, we were talking about turf, and he said, it's a process. I said, it's a process.
Both of your high schools are doing that right
And I
now.
can attest to the same
and
process.
He remembers that.
Russell
It is a
went through the same process. So
I've seen some pictures.
It is a strong community, and we want the best for everybody, and that's what we're trying to teach our students as well. Is a healthy rivalry is good, but you have to care about your neighbor and take care of your neighbor.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where we are.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at it, our students may go to different schools, but they go to church together.
Yeah.
They hang out at Baskin Robbins or other places in the community together. So, we're going to be rivals in the football field or the wrestling mat or at band competitions or whatever else. But there's a lot more collegiality than it may seem at some times.
Our small businessman of the year, Brad Benton, will love that you said that. All right. Well, let me go to a final thought from each of you. And Dr. Cash, we started with you, so I'm going to start here with Dr. Dyer.
Dr. Dyer.
Spell it out for me, if you will. All right. So final comments. And remember, this is, we're going to begin airing this Wednesday, August the 4th. Here's we get ready.
I would just finally say thank you, number one, for allowing us to come together and share a little bit with the community. And I hope this is watched and viewed and people have a better understanding of what we do. But also, it's back to school week. When this airs, it's back to school week. We're doing our reconnection days, and it's just going to be so exciting to get out there and see our students back, see them engaging with our teachers and in the cafeteria, on the buses and everything else. It's just full of excitement. And it's a new year, and we just have open door right now, and it's going to be so fun. So I can't wait. And as this airs, I'll probably be visiting schools and sitting in the cafeteria somewhere.
That's wonderful. Dr. Cash.
I think as we look, one of the most exciting things is students being involved and engaged. And I have to really brag on our teachers. They are probably the best that I've seen anywhere. They step up when they need to step up. So they're, and I'm sure Dr. Dyer can tell you too, they're already in the schools. They're getting those classrooms ready. So we'll be in the schools the week this airs, and it's going to be fun and exciting. And we're going to do a great job because our students deserve our best. Yep. So we're excited about it. So I can tell you that. One of the most exciting things is to teacher training through the summer is to listen to those teachers about the plans they have for their students, and they can't wait to meet their students. They, and that's what it's about. It's about, again, building those relationships and setting excellence as the course.
I believe it's a calling. I really do. Yeah. All right. Thank you both very much. I know you're exceptionally busy. I do appreciate Dr. Linda Cash, our Bradley County Schools Director, Dr. Russell Dyer, our Cleveland City School Director, and my thanks also to Life Care Centers of America, one of our great partners, and all the way that entire leadership team, and they believe in leadership. So we're going to continue these conversations with leaders from throughout not only this community, but around the state level, the federal level at sometimes, as we go on here. For our guests and for all of us at Mix 104.1 and Mix TV, Talk 101.3, I'm Steve Hartline. Good day.
I told my son to find me the nicest place to live in Cleveland. He said, Dad, there's only one place, and that's Garden Plaza. And I moved into the patio home. Everybody knows your name from day one, and there's something to do all day long if you want to participate in it. You cannot possibly be bored at Garden Plaza. It is just great, and their food is outstanding. It's out of this world. I'm so happy I'm here. Garden Plaza is it for me.